You cannot make laws purely based on the Bible.
That's not true. Show me where it says that.
No, yes.
Sure,
no,
show me where it says that.
In the First Amendment, it says that you can't promote one religion over another.
Show me. Read the First Amendment where it says that. When gay marriage was passed, was that democratic? Was there a democratic vote on that?
It was done through the Supreme Court.
Okay, but that's not democracy.
I mean, it's part of our democratic republic. We've got 3 branches of government. The Supreme Court, it's clearly set up in the Constitution that the Supreme Court makes a ruling and that ruling becomes law.
So you would say that if the court rules on something, even if the majority of people don't like it, that's okay? That's still democratic?
I mean, but the majority of people are fine with it.
But they weren't at the time that gay marriage was legalized. So was that authoritarian?
Sure that.
No, that's definitely true.
Let's see. Hold on. Let me just double check this real quick. Was marriage equality supported?
While you look at, you don't have to talk as you don't have to talk as you type,
because this is like really easy to like look up.
I mean, you don't have to talk as you type. That's okay. But while you do that, I just want to get some clarification that even if the majority of people were against something, if the court rules on it, you say that's okay. That's not authoritarian or anti-democratic. A simple yes, no, or will suffice.
No, I don't think that it's authoritarian because it's ruled by, our 3 branches of government.
Okay, so when you said that
in that case, like the Supreme Court rules that marriage equality is legal, right? And so let's say that everybody doesn't like it. Well, then they vote for their respective representatives, and their representatives get into office, and then they change the law because that's what the Supreme Court does. The Supreme Court interprets the law that's on the books and says what is legal and what isn't legal, right? So they change the law in the government so that it will become illegal.
So then when you said that the Supreme Court overruled Roe v. Wade and that was authoritarian,
marriage equality was supported by a majority of Americans.
Let me finish.
It was legalized nationwide in June 26, 2015.
Let me finish. So when you said that when the court overruled Roe v. Wade and the majority of people didn't like that and therefore it was an authoritarian, you misspoke in your opening statement?
I didn't actually mention Obergefell, but
can you bring up your slides again, please?
Okay.
You specifically said that the majority of people were for abortion rights, and it was authoritarian that the Supreme Court overruled it when the president hadn't won the popular vote. That's what you said. Correct?
Hold on. I'm pulling it up. Let's see.
How do you not remember what you wrote?
Because there's a lot on this fucking presentation.
Well, you don't know off the top of your head whether or not that's a claim you would have made?
No, I don't know the specific wording because you're being very specific about it.
The specific wording's not relevant.
Like today.
Okay, the specific word, well, then it should be fresh in your memory. The specific wording's not relevant. It seems to be that you intuited that it was somehow authoritarian for the Supreme Court to overrule abortion because the majority of people supported it. That's what you said, right?
I'm still looking it up.
I mean, this is troubling that you don't even know what your own position is. You have to justify.
No. You're straw manning me at left and right here because I already told you, and if you quit being disingenuous, that I'm looking up the very specific words that I use so that I know whether or not to correct myself.
That's not true. Okay? That's not true. You know the
spirit. It is totally
you know
true.
the spirit.
That's exactly what I said.
You know the spirit of what you said. And so I'm asking, you shouldn't have to look that. I know the spirit of everything I said in my opening statement. I just wrote it today as well. In fact, it was just 4 or 5 lines on a piece of paper.
4 to 5 lines on.
Yeah, you want to see it?
Okay,
I can show you. No, I just wrote like flashcards.
Right, and I obviously came more prepared than you.
It does not show it. You don't even know what your opening statement said.
No. I do know what my opening statement said. I don't have it memorized. God damn! Like, how fucking petty are you, Rob?
Okay, well, you say this then. Really regardless of what your opening statement said.
Let's take a step back. So why don't you clarify your position, John, and then let's go back into the topic. I've got a few super chat questions, so we can look at one of the super chat questions, and then get back on topic.
I'll just say this. I'll ask this. Maybe we get it. Regardless of what your opening statement said, fine. Will you acknowledge that if I had heard, whether correctly or erroneously, that you said it was authoritarianism and anti-democratic for the Supreme Court to overrule Roe v. Wade because of the fact that the majority of people would have been against that, that's incorrect? That's not what you actually believe. Is that fair?
So I said the minority rule was instrumental in the Supreme Court's recent term, where conservative Christian justices appointed by a president who lost a popular vote overturned abortion rights despite overwhelming public support. So what this is undermining democratic institutions and minority rule. And this is not about authoritarianism. So no, I did not call it authoritarianism.
Okay, but how is this undermining democracy if you just explained to us thoroughly, even if democratically people would vote against a position, the Supreme Court ruling on it, in fact, any of the three branches doing anything, is part of our democratic republic system and therefore wouldn't be anti-democratic? It seems that you've contradicted yourself here.
No, it's not contradictory. This minority rule was instrumental in the Supreme Court's recent term, where conservative Christian justices appointed by a president who lost the popular vote overturned abortion rights despite overwhelming public support. So there's overwhelming public support, and then the minority rule.
What's minority rule? Define that.
Well, the minority making a decision for the majority.
So in other words, because 5 justices on the Supreme Court made a decision, that's anti-democratic.
I think that the way that the Supreme Court was stacked, it definitely was anti-democratic.
So just this court is anti-democratic. This court's illegitimate?
Sure. No, I didn't say it was illegitimate, but the way that it's structured is very anti-democratic. Yeah.
Okay, but wouldn't all courts be anti-democratic in the sense that none of us get to vote for any of the justices?
No, because we can then vote for people, just like what's happening tonight. I'm just, as an example of what I was saying, as we're talking tonight, there's literally a blue wave going on in all of the elections that are currently happening, in the states that are holding elections. So just a wave of things here. So there was unpopular shit that happened, right? People went to the polls, they voted for Democrat leaders, so that those Democrat leaders could then go in and change things the way that they wanted them to. That is how it's supposed to work. Now, was I happy with the decision by the Supreme Court about Roe v. Wade? No, I obviously wasn't. But I also did not at any point claim that it was an anti-democratic or anything like that. But I do think that the Supreme Court is structured in a way that it allows the minority of the USA to make decisions for the majority against what the people actually want, because the people actually approve of Roe v. Wade. People actually approve of having abortion access. So that is an undermining of the will of the people.
So again, what happens is you've waffled on this several times. When we said that
I haven't waffled at all.
Please,
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Sit here quietly and let you. When you said that, when we said that it may have been against the will of the people when they made same-sex marriage legal, you said, well, it wouldn't matter because these institutions are part of our democratic republic and therefore it wouldn't be anti-democratic. And then as soon as Roe v. Wade, which you mentioned in your opening statement, is overruled, you say that it is anti-democratic because there's something uniquely about this court that you don't like. And it seems that you're just being subjective, as is the case with secular humanism and your morality,
Actually,
that you apply in a subjective sense is what you're doing.
We could all see, we could see, not that the process was anti-democratic.
How is it anti-democratic to kick it back to the state so that people could vote on abortion? How's that anti-democratic? Isn't that more democratic?
No, it's not more democratic.
Okay, so who got to vote?
We're part of a federal system, and that federal system has to provide some very base level protection of rights, and part of those rights should be the right to abortion.
Okay, you might think that, but did you get to vote on that?
I mean, I would vote on it, but I'm in Alabama.
But you didn't get to vote on it when Roe v. Wade was the law of the land. The court decided that without one vote.
Right. Roe v. Wade was the law of the land.
Correct.
And that's the reason why the Democrats were lazy as fuck to actually codify it in the law. They should have codified it in the law, and they didn't, because they were moderate fucking centrist little spineless shitheads is what they were. And they should have codified it in the law, but they didn't. And that's the reason why it's gone now.
Oh.
And so I disagree with that, but it's not that I think that the process is anti-democratic. I think that the structure, like, are you just deficient in that you can't understand what I'm saying?
No, I am understanding. You're literally using the wrong criticism of your complaint of the overturning of Roe v. Wade. You could say that it was more democratic to allow people to vote on it. You just said in your own words.
We're not even discussing the fucking topic at this point.
Let me finish. You said in your own words, the Democrats didn't even put it up for a vote. They didn't even do legislation because they're cowards. Right. No one voted on it. Now, after Roe v. Wade, people then got to vote for representatives that voted on it. In some states, they actually got to vote for the measure itself on the ballot. That is, by any definition, more democratic.
No, I think that it would be just as democratic for us to vote on it with our elected officials and have our elected officials make it a law. Like, okay. I think that's just as democratic as everybody directly in this pure democratic form that you seem to be advocating for some reason, which I just want to point out, you're totally fucking wrong about 2015. In 2015, the majority of people in the United States supported legalized gay marriage, and also for the longest time, people have supported the right to abortion, even now.
Again, you're fundamentally misunderstanding what democracy means. People
fundamentally
voting.
Not even
You're misunderstanding. You're misunderstanding what democracy is. Now, the reason that we bring up democracy, the reason that we're bringing up was that was seemingly the only offensive position you had against Christian nationalism. I talked about how Christian nationalism would be important to solve birthrights. I talked about how it'd be important for cohesion, how it would be important for sort of the majority opinion, how it would be important to solve things like abortion and other things that are moral and would lead to a happier society, that Christians tend to be happier in the United States. Your attack,
do you think
real
women
quick,
treated as
real
property
quick,
is
your
do you
attack,
think women being treated
your
as
attack
property
against that
is
was
happening?
Your attack against it was authoritarianism, violence, and anti-democracy. We've dispensed with the democracy bullshit. Okay?
No, we haven't.
Okay. Yes,
I mean, I don't think that it's central to the topic at hand. You seem to be wanting to make it a central topic, but
if the majority of people in this country are Christian and vote to want that religion to be the foundational principles of the laws that are passed, why wouldn't it be anti-democratic to not allow them?
Because it's part of our Constitution. If you want to vote,
show me where it says that. Show me in the Constitution.
First Amendment.
Show me. Read the First Amendment. Read the First Amendment and tell me where it says that I can't say I'm voting against abortion because I'm a Christian. Tell me where it says that.
No, I didn't say that.
Okay, what I explained as Christian nationalism is that we elect Christians that vote on policies based on their religion and morality.
Everything that you're talking about, you're jumping from one topic to one topic to one topic and acting like they're all the exact same topic.
That's not true. I've been clear the entire time. I made this point earlier. I want you to show.
Trying to leave a bar.
Can you steel man what I said Christian nationalism is? What my interpretation of it is? Can you?
Fuck no, I can't.
Right, because you're not listening. Nothing I said about saying that we will elect people that are Christians that adapt a Christian moral framework in their legislation. Nothing about that is outlawed in the Constitution or the First Amendment. Show me where it is.
No, what I said was that you cannot make laws purely based on the Bible.
That's not true. Show me where it says that.
No, yes.
Sure, show me where it says that.
In the First Amendment, it says that you can't promote one religion over another.
Show me. Read the First Amendment where it says that.
No, so you're asking for a
read the amendment. Just read it. And you want me to read it for you? Are you incapable of reading it? I could read it for you if you want.
No, I can look it up. I don't have it at my fingertips, but I can read it right now.
Okay, so you're going to say somewhere in the First Amendment it says you can't use a religion for your reason as your exclusive reason to pass a law. That's what you're going to say. You cannot
promote one religion over others.
How is that promoting one religion over another if I say my moral framework is being a Christian?
If your only reason for passing a law is because the Bible says so, then that is a violation of the First Amendment.
That's not true.
You can have other reasons.
That's not true. I'm allowed to use any moral code I want as a politician or as a voter to push any law. There's no law. The First Amendment does. I can't establish.
But if you pass a law,
I can't establish a national religion. That's about it.
religion-
I can't establish a national religion. That's about it. That's not what I'm suggesting.
No,
we do.
that's not true.
Okay,
That's not
then
even true.
I'll read the First Amendment. You tell me the part where it says you can't say, "Hey, I'm voting against abortion because as a Christian, I think that
That's
life
not
is
what I
sacrosanct."
said.
Okay,
That's
if-
not what I said. You keep changing what I'm saying. You're a dishonest interlocutor.
I'm not.
That's
It
what you
seems
are.
that what you're saying is, you correct me if I'm wrong. You're saying that I can't suggest I'm voting for a law because purely my religion.
I'm saying that you can't advance a law that is only based on your religion.
Okay, so if I say I'm advancing outlawing abortion because I think it's against my religion, and it's murder because my religion says so.
Oh, well, your religion doesn't care about killing babies.
It
'cause
doesn't
your
matter what
God
you
kills
think about my
babies.
religion. I'm giving you my justification for being against abortion is my religion. You're saying I'm not allowed to do that.
I'm saying that you can put that up, but if the only defense you have for it is that particular defense, then yeah, it would be.
Here's what
it
the
would
first
go against the First
For
Amendment.
those of you that don't know, here's what the First Amendment says, and he's trying to extrapolate this. It says, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or of the right of the people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances. This is not
Right.
establishing.
No law
Would you
respecting an
say that?
establishment of religion?
Okay, would you say that me saying I'm voting against abortion because of my religion is me establishing a religion?
No, that's not what the establishment of
okay,
religion
so-
is.
Yes,
No,
that's
that's not what that means.
you explained to me what they mean
no
by
law
establishment.
no law respecting an establishment of religion. Not that it establishes a national religion, but it's no law respecting an establishment of religion. I don't know.
Right. In other
I'm an
words,
engineer,
establishing
honey,
a
am I wrong about this?
Yes, you're
let's
No,
make sure
I'm
that-
not fucking wrong
you're
about this. And
absolutely-
she's great at English.
Let's
You're
make sure that we're tying these topics back, or the discussion back into the topic: is Christian nationalism good for America?
Sure.
Because it seems to be going kind of off the side, but that's okay. Just pull it
Okay,
back
yeah.
in.
Let me propose something here. So one of my problems with Christianity and Christian nationalism in general is the fact that you're basing your laws and all that kind of stuff off of what the Bible says, and the moral laws. Like I've gotten written down here that you hold the 10 Commandments
Sure.
pretty high up there.
Correct.
So if you think, do you think that the 10 Commandments should be like codified into law?
I think that the 10 Commandments should be the foundational principle for how we establish our laws.
Okay, so then the first through like the third commandments are anti-free speech. Are you anti-free speech?
Well, it depends. No, I don't consider myself to be anti-free speech, nor do I think that we should enshrine into law that you should not be allowed to blaspheme. I think that though the laws that we did,
so I can
let
say
me-
goddamn. You like you're fine
legally,
if I wanna say
I think that
goddamn?
it's probably not the best idea. I say it myself. I think it's probably not a good idea to say it from a moral perspective, but I don't think it should be illegal for you to do such. Nor do I think that if we promoted my form of Christianity, which are Christians today using this as a framework, that there's any evidence whatsoever to suggest that the majority of Christians, if put in positions of power, would outlaw that.
Which of the 10 Commandments do you think shouldn't be enshrined in law?
Well, I would say that when we're looking at them, there's no need to enshrine into law anything from the First Amendment, anything from the Second Amendment, taking the Lord's name in vain, to keeping the Lord's Day holy. I didn't have a problem. In fact, we often did that. Like, for example, in my state of Pennsylvania, we often said there were a lot of things you couldn't do on Sunday, which was rooted in sort of the idea of the Lord's Day, and taking off. So I didn't really have a problem with that. I don't think we should
Is that a
enshrine.
violation of the First Amendment?
No, no, was it? Like
It
when
would've been,
liquor
yeah.
stores were closed in Pennsylvania on Sundays, is that a violation of the First Amendment? You tell me.
Oh no, I mean,
Okay, right, that's my
there are
point.
dry counties around here too, but I
Right.
mean, I would definitely consider that to be pushing a certain form.
When we
of
take off for
Christianity.
Christmas, is that a violation of the First Amendment?
Well, no, I mean, Christmas has been identified by the federal government as a holiday, a national holiday.
I don't
So-
think even if we said that it was just a religious holiday, that it would be a violation of the First Amendment. I think that you shall not kill should be the foundation of our legal system.
hold on, wait a second. We've totally passed over those first three. And
I
you
just
said that
went
you
through
think-
them. I went
but
through them
you
one
think
by
that-
one.
I know, I understand that,
Mhm.
but you said that the 10 Commandments should be the basis for all
Correct.
laws. But
Yes.
then
Yes.
you're skipping the first three.
I didn't skip. I said that there's no need to enshrine it within law.
Okay, but
I don't think we need to make it illegal.
If those should inspire law, then how are you dismissing them?
I think that the legal system is designed for us on earth to have a system that allows us to live in a harmonious way. I think there are certain things that we could say God says are immoral that aren't necessary to make illegal, such as taking his name in vain. However, things like murder are something that we should say that both should be immoral and should be illegal. That is absolutely answering your question. Now, I'll turn the question to you.
What was my
Where
question?
is your framework as a secular humanist?
Can you still man my question?
Yes, your question was, why should we not have, if I say this is the moral foundation for our law, why should these first three not be a law? I directly answered that by saying that just because I'm saying the 10 Commandments are the moral foundation for what should be law, it doesn't mean that everything outlined in the 10 Commandments needs to be illegal. There are things that could be there that are immoral that wouldn't justify us saying as a state may be illegal.
Arbitrarily throwing out the first 4 commandments.
I'm not arbitrarily throwing them out. I'm saying not everything that is a sin needs to be made illegal. But the things that we are going to say are legal and to codify into our legal system should be grounded on the morality that we see from the 10 Commandments.